Imagine walking home late at night after a long day of work. The streets are quiet, the kind of quiet that makes every footstep echo a little louder than it should. Now picture this, at the end of that alley, a powerful woman, the CEO of a major company, is cornered by three men who don't have good intentions. No one is around, no one is supposed to see. But fate, sometimes, places the right people in the right place at the right time. And on this night, it wasn't her security team or colleagues who would come to her rescue. It was a janitor and his young daughter, armed with nothing but courage, and one perfect throw that would change everything. The CEO, Elena Morozov, was known for her steel nerves in the boardroom. She had fought for her place in a male-dominated industry and had earned every bit of respect she commanded. But courage in business doesn't always prepare you for terror in the shadows. As she clutched her bag tightly and backed against the cold brick wall, her mind was racing, not about money or contracts, but survival. The three men smirked, circling closer, one of them reaching for her wrist. At the far end of the alley, a janitor named Victor was walking home with his 12-year-old daughter, Alina. Victor worked long hours cleaning office buildings, and though his life wasn't easy, he always made sure to walk Alina home from her evening study sessions. That night, Alina tugged on his sleeve, whispering, "Papa, look." And what she saw made her freeze. The powerful CEO, someone whose face they had seen on television, cornered and terrified. Victor's first instinct was fear. He wasn't a fighter. He wasn't trained to handle three grown men. His only tools were the calluses on his hands and the broom handle he still carried. He whispered to Alina to stay behind him, but she shook her head. "Papa, you told me once that bravery isn't about being strong. It's about protecting someone who can't protect themselves." The words echoed in his ears, words he himself had told her when she was afraid of bullies at school. And now, here he was, being tested by his own lesson. He took a deep breath, stepped forward, and shouted, "Hey, leave her alone." His voice cracked, but it carried enough weight to make the men glance up, annoyed. One of them laughed. "Go home, old man. This doesn't concern you." But by then, Alina had already reached down, picked up a loose rock from the ground, and held it tightly in her small hand. She remembered the afternoons her father had taught her to throw stones into the river, making them skip across the water. She took aim, not at their bodies, but at the leader's hand, the one reaching for Alina's wrist. With all the strength her little arm could muster, she threw. The stone flew true, striking the man squarely on the knuckles. He yelped, dropping his grip, clutching his hand in pain. The sudden shock gave Victor just enough time to charge forward with his broom handle, swinging it with desperate energy. He wasn't trained, but desperation has a power of its own. He struck one man across the shoulder, knocking him off balance. The CEO, realizing her chance, needed another attacker in the stomach with all the force she had left. Chaos erupted in the alley. The three men, suddenly realizing this wasn't going to be as easy as they thought, cursed and backed off. One of them spat on the ground, muttering threats, but none of them dared to continue. They stumbled into the night, disappearing as quickly as they had come. For a moment, silence returned. Elena stood against the wall, trembling, her breath uneven. Victor held his broom tightly, his heart racing as if it would leap out of his chest. Elena rushed to his side, eyes wide, still clutching her empty hand that had made the throw. "Are you all right?" Victor finally asked the CEO. Elena nodded slowly, her eyes still wide with shock. You saved me." Her voice cracked, not from weakness, but from disbelief. For once in her powerful life, she had been completely powerless. And it was not a security guard, not a high-priced bodyguard, but a janitor and his young daughter who had come to her aid. She sank down onto the curb, tears brimming in her eyes, not of shame, but of release. For years, she had lived thinking that strength only came from boardrooms, deals, and winning battles in business. But here, in a dark alley, she saw a different kind of strength, ordinary, raw, unpolished, but pure. Victor knelt down, his hands still trembling. "We just did what anyone should do." But Elena shook her head. "No, not everyone would. Most people would look away. Most people would run. But you stood, and she turned to Elena. "You have the heart of a warrior." Elena's cheeks flushed red, but she smiled, proud in a way she never had been before. The three of them walked out of the alley together, and by the time Elena's driver arrived, she turned to Victor with a look he would never forget. "Tomorrow, come to my office. Not as a janitor, but as my guest. The world needs people like you. And I want the world to know what bravery really looks like. And she meant it. The next day, news outlets weren't talking about the three men in the alley. They were talking about a janitor and his daughter, about how courage doesn't wear suits or titles, it lives in the hearts of ordinary people who choose to act when it matters most. The story spread, inspiring thousands. For Victor, it wasn't about recognition. For Alina, it wasn't about fame. It was about knowing they had made a difference, that one perfect throw had not only saved a life, but reminded the world what true heroism looks like. And for Elena, the CEO who had once believed that success was only measured in profits, it was a reminder that the strongest allies can come from the most unexpected places.